From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Well, quick reminder, there's a free Weather NorCal app, and here's the cool part. If you're heading out over the weekend, Memorial Day weekend, maybe even out of Northern California, take note that this app will travel with you. So no matter where you are, you can get the forecast at your current location. So if you're heading up to Oregon, maybe Medford, or out towards Portland, you will get the forecast for Portland in your area. But when you're here locally, yeah, you get all the local information that you come to expect out of me, Mike Kruger. I take great pride in this app and the weather information that it provides, so be sure to check it out for your iPhone and your Android device. All right, let's take a look at our weather headlines. And the winds, yeah, they died down in the afternoon as expected, but they're going to be picking back up again later on this afternoon. But the good news is for some of us it'll be more from the south, however, the north end of the valley more from the north. We'll take a closer look at that in a second. Now, we do have the potential for some mountain showers and maybe even an isolated thunderstorm for some of the mountains. A closer look at that in a second, plus a big cool down for the first half of the weekend before we warm back up for Memorial Day weekend and for Memorial Day. So as we go into Sunday, Monday, temperatures start to warm up, and it looks like we'll kind of just stay in the at least low 90s through a good portion of next week. Here's your neighborhood forecast at a quick glance. Temperatures are starting to drop. We're noticing it today. We're talking low 80s in the valley, mainly 70s still in the higher elevations. And look at that. Yeah, a chance for some isolated showers for Siskiyou, Modoc County, and the eastern mountains as well. Not to mention, by the way, the mountains of Shasta County. All right, so here's a look at the forecast winds. So, as mentioned, the winds will be picking up this afternoon. Now, notice they're mainly from the south for Butte and Glenn counties, but for Shasta, Tehama counties, those winds are coming off the mountains from the northwest. Now, this is not a major wind event, but you'll notice the winds picking up later this afternoon. And look at the winds off in the eastern mountains, the strong westerly wind, and we'll call it breezy north winds that we see along the coast there. So for Saturday, what you'll notice is the winds will subside. We're looking at much calmer winds on Saturday. However, they'll pick up a little bit through the afternoon, just a little breezy, but it's a south wind. So that's going to be a big difference, at least for the valley, right? You're still looking at those gusty north winds out along the coast. Sunday, so here's Sunday morning. Again, a calm start, maybe a little breezy Sunday afternoon, but the main winds, the big winds, are pretty much over at this point. And the humidity, this is going to help in our fire danger because, yes, they're going to be fairly low today, but, you know, we've seen worse conditions. We're in the teens to 20% or higher relative humidity for the valley. For Saturday, look at Saturday morning. We've got some pretty good recovery in the 60, 70, even over 80% range for the valley. Could even see some patchy fog for parts of, say, Glenn and Butte counties tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, we're over 25% humidity. This is, again, much better than getting down to 10% or lower. Sunday morning, some good recovery, 50, 60, even upwards of 80%. And then, yeah, the humidity starts to drop through the day. And as the temperatures increase, we may start to see those lower humidities as well. So the fire weather risk for today, with the south winds, it's really going to help. Although, with the winds coming in from the northwest for the north end of the valley, we do have a bit of that moderate fire weather risk. But Saturday, as I mentioned, those winds will shift from the south for pretty much everyone. And we are in that low fire weather risk for your Saturday. So some very good news there. So here's the overall trend. This is the cooler air. This is the what we call an inside slider that's moving through today. And that's going to give us those the winds a little bit here, right? Then that starts to move on out. And we have some cooler air moving in on Saturday, and that's going to allow our temperatures to drop down into the 70s for the valley. Now, it's going into Sunday and into Monday. Notice what's happening. We're starting to see a ridge of high pressure beginning to build in. That's going to allow our temperatures to warm back up into the low 90s in the valley. This cooler air here, it's going to take its own time, sweet time getting here, but it will move through as we go into the middle of next week. This means that temperatures are going to drop slightly after Memorial Day. Tuesday, Wednesday in particular, we'll see a slight dip in our temperatures, but we still have warm air in place. The colder air is up to our north, so we're only talking about maybe 2 to 3 degrees from what we'll see on Monday. But then going into Thursday, Friday of next week, that cooler air moves out. A stronger ridge of high pressure builds in from the west, and that's going to mean getting back in the possibly mid, maybe some upper 90s by the time we get toward the end of next week. We'll kind of have to wait and see what happens with that, but the long range is showing us in that warmer than normal category. So you can see the storm system off to our north and west. That's what's going to bring up those winds I was talking about, that inside slider. But this one's pushing a little bit more to the south than the ones we've seen all week long. That's the reason why our temperatures are dropping, but it's also the reason why we're going to see some more cloud cover, especially for the north end of the areas, north end of Northern California. North end of Northern California. You get the idea. So let's take a look at Futurecast. So some of the fog this morning for parts of the coast, but really otherwise we're looking at mainly clear skies. So for this afternoon, as that system, that slider kind of pushes to the south and east, what happens is we see the potential for a few scattered showers. Now, I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but it's one of those things where if you live in Siskiyou County, Modoc, Lassen County, and even the mountains of Shasta County, especially the north and east, don't be surprised if you see a stray shower pass through later this afternoon or evening. But look at the cloud cover too. We're seeing a little bit more in the way of cloud cover. We'll call it partly cloudy even for the valley later this afternoon, and still a lot of that cloud cover along the coast as well. Now the showers move on out as that slider pushes on out of the area. But look at this. We might actually start the morning off with a little bit of fog. Yesterday, Futurecast was showing all the way up even into Redding. That doesn't look like that may be the case at this point, but yeah, we could see some fog developing in parts of the valley here for tomorrow morning, and not to mention out along the coast. Saturday afternoon, well, there you can see some of the clouds, some afternoon cumulus clouds, but it's not going to rain on Saturday for anyone in the mountains. But we're still seeing a lot of that fog kind of persisting, especially around Eureka, maybe starting to kind of clear out by Sunday afternoon. Here's a look at your long-range forecast, and dry weather, you bet. There may be some afternoon showers developing for parts of the Sierra. We've got a couple of systems trying to clip Northern California by around midweek, but at this point, I wouldn't count on it. And then you can see another storm system by the end of next week is what we're looking at here approaching. But bottom line, it's going to be dry and warmer. Here's a Memorial Day weekend forecast for all 6 neighborhoods. We start off with the Valley and Redding in particular. Notice the upward trend, and really minus the coast, we're going to notice that upward trend here throughout your Memorial Day weekend. So the warmest will actually be Memorial Day for most of us, including the coast. And we're also seeing a slight upward trend with those temperatures there as well. For Siskiyou County, we're talking about temperatures back into the mid-80s for your Memorial Day. For Modoc County, temperatures in the low 80s for next Monday. And how about the Eastern Mountains? Susanville in particular, you're talking mid-70s on Saturday, low 80s on Sunday, and back up to about 86 degrees for your Memorial Day. All right, let's take a look at your wave heights, and yeah, they're looking pretty good here for today. And for your Saturday, yeah, they're starting to kind of pick up a little bit here. No small crotch advisories or gale warnings, but of course, just looking at that patchy morning fog, and probably still some fog kind of persisting even throughout the afternoon. So here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. We do have those temperatures in the mid-70s, although a bit cooler as you head to the south. Ruth with about 69 degrees. 60 for Blue Lake, 73 degrees for Garberville, and Ferndale, a high of about 58 degrees. Here's a look at your North Coast neighborhood forecast to the north. Smith River, 62, 73 degrees for Orleans and Willow Creek, about 75. And your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast, there's that chance for an isolated shower. Don't count on the rain. Don't count on the passing shower. But if you live anywhere in Siskiyou County, especially central eastern Siskiyou County, don't be surprised if you see a stray shower, a brief shower at that. There's the same situation for Modoc County. You have better chances for the showers, but I wouldn't count on much, if anything. A lot of everyone in Modoc County, you will make it through the day without seeing a drop of rain today. But again, don't be surprised if you get caught under one of those brief showers. Same situation for the Eastern Mountains as far as that rain is concerned for today. But by the weekend, it completely dries out and we're starting to warm up by next week. Your Valley Neighborhood Forecast brought to you by NorCal Tractor. Those temperatures will be in the low 80s. Yes, we are starting to see those temperatures drop again after some fairly warm weather. 80 degrees for Lakehead, 77 degrees for Whiskeytown. Palisadro about 83, and Red Bluff you'll see a high of about 82 degrees. Let's take a look at that 7-day outlook, and yes, it's cooling off. In fact, even more so by tomorrow, only reaching the upper 70s, but temperatures creeping back up again through the weekend. 87 Sunday, low 90s for your Memorial Day in Redding, and we'll pretty much keep it in the low 80s. Remember I was talking about that slight dip in the temperatures? It's only by a degree or two, and that's about it for Tuesday, Wednesday, and then they'll start to kind of creep back up towards the end of next week. I am going to be off this entire Memorial Day weekend. Meteorologist Brian Wilson will be here to give you your weather. In the meantime, I'll still have your update at noon today, and not to mention this evening. But if I don't see you, or if you don't watch me until then, have a great Memorial Day weekend, and we will see you next Tuesday.